Welcome back to Raw Politics. Now, the EU is urging member states to proceed with caution when it comes to China. That from German Commissioner Günther Oettinger, who over the weekend called for an EU veto on deals made between the country and the European partners. This is days after Beijing signed a historic agreement with Italy. The comments come as Chinese President Xi Jinping's European tour is in full swing. He arrived in Paris this morning after spending yesterday on the French Riviera, where he met with Monaco's royal family and French President Emmanuel Macron. Now, he's trying to shore up support for China's global infrastructure project, the Belt Road Initiative, which aims to connect Europe with Asia, the Middle East and Africa. On Saturday, he met with leaders in Italy who agreed to sign up to the project. They are the first of the G7 countries to do so. And the move angered critics who worry about China's growing influence. But brushing these worries aside, Deputy Prime Minister Luigi Di Maio said this.
E quindi altri paesi europei in questo momento hanno delle loro posizioni sulle nostre decisioni che riguardano il commercio, che possono essere sicuramente delle posizioni critiche, ne hanno tutto il diritto, soltanto che, come qualcuno negli Stati Uniti ha detto America First, io continuo a ripetere Italia First nelle relazioni commerciali e quindi nessuno vuole scavalcare i nostri partner europei. Noi restiamo ben saldi nell'alleanza euroatlantica, restiamo alleati degli Stati Uniti e nella NATO.
All right, here with me to discuss this is Italian MEP from the Five Star Movement, Ignacio Corrao, and Claire Moody. She is a British MEP from the Socialists and Democrats group. All right, I will start with you, Ignacio. Obviously, Italy first. Is it all about the money, though?
Well, obviously, I agree with what Luigi Di Maio said. I mean, there's no problem with our allies. I mean, all the European countries are not the main actors of globalization. Maybe it's something within the United States and China, but this doesn't mean that Italy can come first to agreements. What Oettinger said probably.
But he's not one person. There, you've got warnings from even Emmanuel Macron. You have other EU partners. Even the United States is wary. Why are you not even considering these voices? Why is Italy not?
We are of course considering all the voices, and we always say we are friends of the other European countries. We are friends of the United States. But when it comes to big world business, and of course there are trade relations with China, and there are already trade relations with all the European countries and China, there is nothing strange that Italy can come before Germany or France. There is nothing. Why Germany and France have always to decide first what has to happen in Europe about trade? This is it.
Yeah, so Claire, what do you think about that? Because here we have Günther Oettinger saying, well, there's got to be a veto from the EU level, because his point being, this is a bloc. Once China is in, this is, it does enter a big trading bloc. It is not just Italy.
They already do. Huh?
It is, exactly. But this is the Belt Road Initiative. It is part of their strategy. This is a big strategy in foreign policy in China. So what do you think, Claire? Is Ignacio right that if it's Italy's business, it's Italy's business?
Well, there are, as you rightly pointed out, the European Union is a global trading bloc, and consequently there are rules around that, and there are rules around the appropriateness of trade deals that are done. Trade deals are done at a European level, as my country knows all too well now, and various other kind of structural points. But there is the wider question around the security, around the asymmetry of the way that trade is done in China and the way that it's done across Europe. And we need to take a very careful, balanced view around what is and isn't acceptable in protecting our interests.
There is that balance. Where do you strike the balance between business and security? All right, before we get back to this discussion, let's get more analysis first with Lucrezia Poggetti. She's a research associate at the Mercator Institute for China Studies, and she's joining me via Skype. Thanks for joining us. All right, so this Belt Road Initiative, it is a key part of China's strategy around the world. Is this a big win for China, this signing of this deal with Italy in terms of Europe?
It is a big deal for China, especially in terms of giving Xi Jinping and his pet project a huge legitimacy boost. because all in once China got on board with the initiative, the third largest economy of the Eurozone, a country who founded the European Union and a G7 member. The thing to emphasize here is that a BRI MOU is not necessary to do trade with China. Europe's largest exporters to China do not have a memorandum on the Belt and Road Initiative in place. The signature of a memorandum on Belt and Road is a political gesture. It serves Chinese geopolitical ambitions, and there are different ways to pursue economic opportunities without signing up officially to Belt and Road. And then, yes, there are indeed also security concerns. Italy has not coordinated closely and transparently with its EU partners, but also with the US. And as a NATO country, Italy, especially when large investment from China are involved in strategic sectors like ports and telecommunications, these are things that should be discussed with the EU partners and the US.
Lucretia, you do mention that this is a political gesture more than a trade deal. Is there valid reason then to be as worried as the EU seems to be, or are these fears overblown?
I don't know. Obviously, Oettinger took a very strong position. I don't know whether this is overblown, but regardless, I think that what needs to be done is to run security assessments. I'm not saying that Italy should fend off all Chinese investment a priori, not at all. It's right and legitimate that Italy pursues economic opportunities, but the right risk assessments needs to be carried out.
All right, thank you for your insight there, Lucretia Poggetti from Mercator Institute for China Studies. All right, she was pointing out that this is more like a political gesture.
Of course.
So it goes back to the worry. It goes back to the worry. You're talking about trade, but this is about...
There is nothing
and she
to
said
be worried.
Italy didn't consult.
No, there is nothing to be worried and nothing to be afraid of. I know that Luigi Di Maio is traveling very soon to United States of America to work together with one of our main allies, so the States. And of course, this memorandum was prepared very carefully with the framework that was in line with the European Union.
But the Deputy Prime Minister Salvini wasn't very much in favor. He was warning.
The Deputy Prime Minister Salvini is not in charge on the trade agreement. He just speaks about many things that are not on his portfolio. The point of of preparing this memorandum and doing this agreement with China, it's more of a signal to the other countries of Europe, because when it comes to business, Germany, I said it again, Germany, France, they didn't have many problems on doing things before Italy and taking advantages of the European legislation for their countries. So maybe the problem here is that the Belt and Road Initiative can come to Europe through Italy and not through Germany. This is the problem of Oettinger.
Well,
and this is the history. This is the history of the European Union.
I mean, Claire, what do you think of Ignacio's point that it might be because another EU country did not beat Italy to this?
I am sceptical of that position. I don't think that is the reason why people are concerned. I think Lucretia made the point around the critical infrastructure, around ports, around 5G development. It's where is this investment going to go in, because it's therefore, and that's again the crucial point.
It's out.
Well, that's helpful to know, but that's the crucial point
it's
about
out of
the lack of consultation, the lack of kind of coordination with other European countries around, where is this investment going, and does it, potentially make other European countries vulnerable as well if it is, on this infrastructure.
And also, I mean, in terms of if China is investing in Italy by a lot of money, would this put Italy in a position where you might not challenge China as much as you should be?
We have received investments, and we've been practically controlled by the United States, speaking about infrastructure and speaking about important...
I mean, these are generally protected industries in Europe.
I mean, this is going to happen. I mean, China is investing in Europe, is buying public debt. This is already happening. I mean, this is the point of when it happens first. And when it goes to the global actor of globalization, we are out of the game, because it's a matter between the United States and China. And we have to work with both of them because they're both big players of the global scenario.
That's the importance and the significance of working as the EU, because there are three major actors on the world stage. There's the US, there's China, and there's the EU. And that is why having that relationship kind of coordinated, because China does operate on different structures.
The memorandum was agreed with the President of the Republic, which is not the Italian President of the Republic, which is not of a five-star movement and not from Liga. Is much of a European figure, Sergio Mattarella, and he was very, very happy about the terms and the framework of the memorandum because it is inside the European framework. So there's nothing to be worried about. The only problem there is with Germany and with Oettinger is that for the first time, Italy is not going behind Germany.
Yeah, perhaps maybe Italy has the right to actually deal with their own fiscal and problems. Economic problems.
That's a much bigger question as well in terms of the Eurozone, and that's
this agreement is good for the Italian small, medium enterprise because this increase the export for 2-3 billion. This is